Picture this, 1914, Europe teeters on the brink, a spark ignites a powder keg, the world plunges into darkness. This wasn't just a war, it was a cataclysm. Millions mobilized, marching towards a fate unknown. Hope battled despair in the trenches. The world would never be the same. The Great War, they called it. A fitting name for a conflict of unprecedented scale. Empires clashed, their ambitions fueled by nationalism and a thirst for power. Technology, once a beacon of progress, was twisted into tools of destruction. Machine guns chattered, spitting fire and death. Artillery shells rained down, turning battlefields into landscapes of craters and mud. The air itself crackled with danger. Biplanes, flimsy and new, dueled in the skies above. Below, poison gas, a horrifying innovation, choked the life out of soldiers. This was a new kind of war, one where the lines between soldier and civilian blurred, and the very fabric of civilization seemed to unravel. The world watched in horror as the death toll mounted, a grim testament to the destructive power unleashed.
Imagine you're a soldier, huddled in a trench. The air is thick with the stench of fear and decay. Suddenly the ground erupts. Shells scream overhead, each one a messenger of death. This was the reality of World War I. Technology, once a symbol of progress, became a tool of unimaginable destruction. Machine guns, brutal in their efficiency, mowed down men by the thousands. Artillery barrages, capable of obliterating entire landscapes, transformed once peaceful fields into nightmarish hellscapes. The sheer scale of the firepower was unlike anything the world had ever seen, and it wasn't just the battlefield that felt the impact. Cities, once bustling centers of life, were reduced to rubble. Homes, schools, hospitals all vanished under the relentless bombardment. The war reached far beyond the front lines, leaving its mark on every aspect of life. The world watched in horror as the casualties mounted, a grim tally of the human cost of this new kind of war.
The map of Europe redrawn in blood, the once mighty empires, pillars of the old world, crumbled under the weight of war. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, a patchwork of cultures and languages, fractured and dissolved. The Ottoman Empire, once a formidable power, met its end. The Russian Empire, its vastness no match for the internal pressures of revolution, collapsed under the strain. From the ashes of these fallen giants, new nations would rise, but the scars of empire would linger, shaping the political landscape for generations to come. The war's impact extended far beyond Europe. Colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Pacific were drawn into the conflict, their people forced to fight for empires that often viewed them as expendable. The war shattered the illusion of European invincibility, sowing the seeds of future conflicts and struggles for independence.
Imagine a once fertile field, now a desolate wasteland. Trenches like jagged wounds scar the earth. This was the legacy of World War I. Entire landscapes were reshaped by the relentless bombardment. Villages vanished, wiped off the map by the fury of artillery fire. Forests, once teeming with life, were reduced to shattered stumps. The very soil itself was poisoned by chemicals and explosives. The environmental impact of the war was profound. It was a stark reminder that even nature itself was not immune to the destructive power of human conflict. The war left its mark not only on the land, but also on the collective psyche of a generation. The trauma of the trenches, the horrors witnessed, left an indelible mark on those who survived. The world had changed, and so had the men and women who had lived through its darkest hour.
Section 5. Whispers of trauma, the unseen wounds of war. The battlefield was silent, the guns finally still. But for many survivors, the war raged on. Inside their minds, the horrors replayed, the deafening roar of artillery, the sight of comrades cut down, the suffocating terror of gas attacks. This was the invisible wound of World War I, shell shock. Men returned from the front broken, haunted by what they had seen and done. They suffered from nightmares, flashbacks, and crippling anxiety. Many turned to alcohol or withdrew into themselves, unable to cope with the memories that tormented them. The medical world struggled to understand this new affliction. Treatments were often rudimentary and ineffective. Many veterans faced stigma and misunderstanding, their invisible wounds dismissed as weakness or cowardice. Their suffering a stark reminder of the war's lasting psychological toll.
Section 6. Forgotten Faces. Stories from the trenches. They were farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, ordinary people thrust into extraordinary circumstances. Their stories, often untold, paint a vivid picture of life and death in the trenches. There was the young soldier, writing a final letter home before going over the top, his words filled with a mixture of fear and resolve. There was the medic, working tirelessly to save lives amidst the carnage, haunted by the faces of those he couldn't reach in time. There was the soldier who found solace in music, his violin bringing a moment of peace to the chaos. These were the forgotten faces of World War I. Their stories a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. Their experiences, often lost in the official narratives of battles and campaigns, offer a glimpse into the human cost of war. They remind us that behind the statistics and the grand strategies, there were individuals who lived, loved, and died in the trenches.
Section 7, Innovation and Annihilation, the dark side of progress. The Great War was a breeding ground for innovation, but every technological leap seemed to be met with a countermeasure, fueling a deadly arms race. Tanks, lumbering behemoths designed to break the stalemate of trench warfare, rolled onto the battlefield for the first time. Submarines, silent predators of the deep, transformed naval warfare, their torpedoes sinking ships with deadly precision. Airplanes, once a novelty, became weapons of war, dogfighting in the skies above the trenches. But for every life saved by a new invention, countless others were lost to the enemy's countermeasures. The war became a grim testament to humanity's capacity for both innovation and destruction. It was a stark reminder that progress, if left unchecked, could easily be turned towards deadly ends.
The war ended, but its shadow lingered. Millions lay dead, victims of the relentless machinery of war. Entire generations were decimated, their potential unrealized. Families were torn apart, left to grieve for loved ones lost in distant lands. The economic toll was staggering. Nations were left bankrupt, their industries shattered. The war had consumed everything in its path, leaving behind a legacy of debt, destruction, and despair. The world that emerged from the conflict was forever changed. The old order was gone, replaced by a fragile peace and the lingering trauma of a generation scarred by war. The true cost of the conflict would continue to be felt for decades to come, a stark reminder of the enduring legacy of violence and the importance of striving for a more peaceful future.
The guns of World War I have long fallen silent, but the echoes of that conflict still resonate today. The war reshaped the political map of Europe, leading to the creation of new nations and the redrawing of borders. But it also sowed the seeds of future conflicts. The Treaty of Versailles, intended to ensure lasting peace, instead bred resentment and instability. The war's legacy can be seen in the rise of totalitarian regimes, the horrors of the Holocaust, and the outbreak of World War II. It serves as a chilling reminder that history, if left unheeded, has a way of repeating itself. The lessons of World War I, the devastating consequences of nationalism, the importance of diplomacy, and the need for international cooperation are as relevant today as they were a century ago.
The passage of time can dull the sharp edges of memory, but it's our duty to remember the sacrifices made during World War I. We must honor the fallen by striving for a world where such conflicts are consigned to the history books. Visiting war memorials, reading the accounts of those who were there, and engaging in thoughtful reflection. These are all ways to keep the memory of the Great War alive. By understanding the past, we can work towards a better future. Education is key. By teaching future generations about the horrors of war, we can help to break the cycle of violence. We must encourage empathy, tolerance, and a commitment to peaceful resolution. The sacrifices of the past must serve as a reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of safeguarding it for generations to come. The story of World War I is vast and complex. There are countless untold stories waiting to be unearthed, hidden gems of courage, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit. It's up to us to seek them out, to piece together the fragments of the past and learn from them. Documentaries, books, museums, and online resources offer a wealth of information for those eager to delve deeper into this pivotal period in history. By exploring these resources, we can gain a more nuanced understanding of the war and its impact on the world we live in today. The journey of discovery doesn't end there. Talk to your families, explore your own local history, and see if you can uncover forgotten stories from the Great War. You might be surprised by what you find. Eager to uncover more untold stories from history? Craving knowledge that's as thrilling as it is informative? Then you need to check out the Fact Grid on YouTube. We bring history to life with stunning visuals, gripping narratives, and a passion for unearthing the most fascinating and often overlooked facts from the past. From ancient civilizations to modern conflicts, we cover it all, always striving to educate and entertain. Don't just take our word for it, experience the power of history for yourself. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell,